give me the broad strokes about what this game is about. We could get into the technicals, but I want to know like kind of like what the whole game is about. What kind of game? What's the storyline ish? Like give me some of the broad strokes here.
Yeah, I mean, so it's super exciting is the first thing. It's like we're a game first studio and we want to create a AAA game. So everything that we do is building into that, from the blockchain side of things to the game side as well. And in broad strokes, Resurgence is a post-apocalyptic survival MMO that starts 1,000 years after the climate crisis has ended civilization. So you kind of wake up in this world that has been reclaimed by nature totally. A few other things that I can talk about a little bit that are going to tease that and kind of prologue how the world ends. And we're going to engage our kind of audiences all the way along so that we can kind of build that community, get them involved in the game, and then get them involved in the blockchain side of things straight away.
Okay.
So there's not that kind of lag.
What's going on, cowboys? In this video, we've got a new game, crypto project out here, and it's called Resurgence. And we've got James, he is a producer, and Blake, one of the lead advisors from this project, Resurgence. And we need to get into the brains, claw out, and see what is inside them, what's making them tick, why are they so excited about Resurgence, and why should we be excited about it as well? Is this a good project? Is this a place where we could park our money, our time, our energy, our trust in? You be the judge. My name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to my next Bitcoin while helping you to your next Bitcoin. I'm just a lizard brain cowboy trying to get there. And when I do some research, just like you on Twitter, Discord, or YouTube, there are all these influencers who are just trying to influence me, okay? But they get paid, they get shilled, and they're not excited about the project. They don't know anything about the project particularly. So I want to hear from the team themselves. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth to my cowboy ears to my lizard brain. Keep it simple. I want to know the fire behind them. I want to know what they're passionate about. And today we've got the team from Resurgence, this new post-apocalyptic game. I want to know more about it. But first of all, let's go to their introductions. They are always where the biggest things are for convergence. We're here to talk about Resurgence. We've got James and Blake in the house. Welcome to the hot seat, guys.
Hey,
So
Aaron, what's
excited
up?
to be here. So excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
I'm excited to have you guys. Before we get into Resurgence in that game, I would just like a quick 2-sentence origin story of your guys' journey into crypto, into the crypto space. Like what did you guys do before, and how did you guys find yourself in the crypto space? So maybe James or Blake, you first, ladies first.
Okay, perfect. So the 2 sentences for me are in 2018, I published the first ever academic thesis on crypto art. It was before I started studying NFTs, before that term even was invented. In 2016, I began my MA in art history. And so I've been kind of very deep in the space since then. And it's been a journey to be full time in crypto. But I started academically on the art side, and now I'm more on the world building and investment side.
Fantastic. That sounds really interesting. That could be a whole nother podcast in itself. James,
Totally.
how about yourself? Where were you before crypto, and how'd you find your way into it?
I mean, my knowledge isn't as erudite as Blake's, but I was involved in a series called Art and Technology, where I was directing a lot of new media artists, and Web3 kept coming up, all of this kind of stuff. And suddenly, I found myself kind of like, a guy that knows nothing in a room with like people really clued into it. And I found myself getting really engaged in it. And that was kind of my first journey into it. Obviously, you have your little investments in on the side and stuff like that, things that you play with. But other than that, that's very much my journey. And Resurgence is the kind of first project that's, integrating that. So that's my journey into it. Yeah.
Awesome. So Blake, you come from a very academic heavy side, wrote the first thesis on that type of art when these terms didn't even invent it. And James, you just found yourself in the tech world and found yourself surrounded by these guys always talking about it. Sounds like an exciting journey. And as I'm still on my journey as well, I'm sure you guys are, and a lot of people who are watching. But we're here to talk about Resurgence. Now, give me the broad strokes about what this game is about. We could get into the technicals, but I want to know what the whole game is about. What kind of game? What's the storyline ish? Give me some of the broad strokes here.
Yeah. Do you want me to take this one, Blake?
Yes, totally.
Yeah, I mean, so it's super exciting is the first thing. It's like we're a game first studio and we want to create a AAA game. So everything that we do is building into that, from the blockchain side of things to the game side as well. And in broad strokes, Resurgence is a post-apocalyptic survival MMO that starts 1,000 years after the climate crisis has ended civilization. So you kind of wake up in this world that has been reclaimed by nature totally. You kind of, we're doing a lot of research into that kind of concepting at the moment, and it feels very relatable to the situation we're in now as we kind of map out how the world ends. But that's part of it. So, we're creating this MMO. That's further down the line. But ahead of that, we're creating a few other things that I can talk about a little bit that are going to tease that and kind of prologue how the world ends. And we're going to engage our kind of audiences all the way along so that we can kind of build that community, get them involved in the game, and then get them involved in the blockchain side of things straight away.
Okay.
So there's not that kind of lag.
Okay, I like that you said like AAA games, game first type of stuff. I think a lot of, I think you'll agree with me. There's a lot of people out there who are just trying to create these, just lackluster, crappy games, and there's no way you're going to hold an audience or get people excited about that kind of stuff. So I want to know it's going to be kind of sprawling here. I want to know about development first. Where are you guys in development? How far along are you? You said you're just working on the prologue now, and just the story and the research is going into how the whole world ends. How far are you into laying the foundations of this thing? How far are you on the technical side? How far are you on development? I want to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously I'm going to be, held at arm's length for some of the stuff I can say at the minute, but definitely we've got a lot of the world building done in terms of where we need to go. Now we're kind of building out from the pillar stage of things into the actual game design. So we've got some foundations for that, but we're building that around stuff that we're doing before the game comes out, involving the prologue and building that blockchain side of it. So at the moment, we've done a whole lot of world building. We've got this great writer on board called Tim LeBon, who's done a lot of the kind of alien novelizations, great sci-fi writer. He's helped us build the kind of world of Resurgence from a narrative side of things. Now we're going through concept and game design phases. So building out from the pillars to make sure everything that we're doing from this stage right to the MMO is kind of building on that. I said game first, but it's about the philosophy of being able to create something that's engaging and really worthwhile to both audiences.
Okay, to simplify it for my lizard brain, okay, right? You're saying developing pillars and writing and concepts.
Yeah.
Out of 100% done, what percentage are you at?
For just the pillars and the concepting side of things?
The overall game, everything.
We've got a little way to go. I'd say we're kind of about, I don't want to put timelines on it, but we've got probably about 18 months roadmap ahead of us to kind of get through. There's something that we want to launch fairly soon, which is a game that kind of takes the prologue and involves our audience in the story of the game. I don't want to say too much about that because it takes the whole power out of what we do when we launch it. But it's coming soon. I promise. Get involved. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
We're bringing some characters to life to tell the story of the end of the world. And that's going to kick off this roadmap through to the full MMO. Then further down the line, so 6-12 months on the back of that, we'll then have a few kind of transitions into what will then be the final MMO.
Okay. So you can't say if it's like an E. coli outbreak or zombies or nuclear. Is it any of those? Like, what are we talking? COVID 25? Like, what are we talking about?
I can tell you we're avoiding COVID for the minute, but I can tell you one thing that, like when you look at COVID, the world that we're telling the story from where the world ends is 2032. And so the climate crisis has unfolded in 3 different ways, right? There is a famine that is rising to kind of like genetic crop variations not working out. There's permafrost, which is affecting different things around the atmosphere, releasing ancient diseases and stuff like this. This is like the Hail Mary of climate crisis coming together. And what we're finding out from the research that we're doing at the minute is, I mean, scarily, this stuff isn't too far away from the actual science that exists, which is always grim reading when you're like, yep, this is a genuine way the world could end. But so we're building on that premise of the climate crisis coming together to lead into this world. What we're doing from a narrative stage is building up the characters that were involved in that. And then what we're doing with the pillar stage is finding out how the way in which we tell the story feeds into how we engage with the audience throughout, right into the MMO, which will decide, features and interactions and stuff like that.
Okay, I understand a little bit now. So you're saying that
And Aaron,
this
maybe one more thing, Aaron, just to add around the actual timeline of everything, and why James is kind of skirting around it or being more thoughtful in terms of making big promises, is because what we've seen is a lot of the big games that have come out, they've made massive promises, and it's not like we don't think that a lot of the games out right now can deliver. But to make a AAA game, you can't really deliver that within a year or 2 years. It takes years and massive development teams to really execute on that top level. So we're really trying to thoughtfully, not promise the world right away, and really engage with our audience and build our audience with, as James was saying, different almost mini games or mini experiences leading up to it. So that really adds to the storytelling. It adds to the world building. It adds to the community in ways that we think is very different and very unique in terms of what we've really seen out there. So we're not trying to make those big promises while at the same time trying to provide incredible gaming content all the way through until we deliver, the big game at the end.
Oh, okay. So now I'm grasping a bigger picture here. So you're saying that the big final game in the end is going to be preceded by a whole bunch of mini experiences and mini games to then build out that world and flush out that whole world. I understand. I was actually very surprised when you said 18 months for a AAA game. I was like, that's not possible. I don't think that's possible.
Totally. And we know that. We know that.
Yeah,
We know that
no,
for sure. Yeah.
And I think the crypto space is maturing since last year. Even though that a lot of people are kind of used to those overpromise, underdeliver type of situations, and I think that's a good thing for the crypto space to kind of mature into this. Hey, let's be realistic about how long it actually takes to push out a AAA game here. But talk to me more about these little mini experiences and mini games then. So what does that look like? Does it look like mobile games? Does it look like browser games? Does it look like I don't even know what you curtail experiences. I don't know what that means. So talk to me more about what that is.
Sure. And I mean, Blake's put it really well there, that we're creating moments and experiences. The first thing we're going to do is it's important that we leave a little bit of secrecy around it so that we can create a genuine kind of interest in it from.
Well, I'm trying to get the secrets out. I'm trying to draw
We're trying to get the alpha here. We know we want to give you some, but we can't give you all of it,
What I can say is we're going to start hiding fiction in plain sight. So we're going to start putting stuff out there, which is the story, so that people can engage in it, people can start talking about it, and there'll be things within that story which will act as kind of rewards to our audience. So I don't want to say any more than that. It's, for me, that this is really exciting because we get to build this thing backwards, right? You're absolutely right. There's no way you can create a AAA game in that time frame, but what we can do is start using what we're building to start delivering to our audience in different ways before then, and tying that into the blockchain stuff. I don't know if you wanted to come in on that as well, Blake.
I think, just to add to what James is saying, that, every kind of experience that we release will be very much supportive of the larger game. And there'll be crypto components to all of it in terms of rewards and baking in kind of upside. Now, we can't necessarily get into those details. We want to be super thoughtful and rigorous in terms of how we're designing any type of kind of economic or NFT system within the game, which I feel like I'm front running your questions, Aaron. Just calling that out in terms of when token or when NFT drop or whatever it is. But we do want to be making sure that we're rewarding our community, of course, for participating early, and making sure that we're really trying to embody those pillars of Web3 around ownership, around actually being rewarded for supporting a game and its growth. And we want to put, as much as we want to put the game first, we want to put the community first that's playing the game. So we want to make sure that we're doing that as well. But in terms of all the little mini experiences or things that you're going to be able to participate in, not only will it just be fun, but we also obviously want to make sure that there's upside for the audience as well within that.
Okay. Good deal. So yeah, so I totally understand. You're looking for upside. It seems like you're very careful about releasing what you're looking at these experience on the over promising side. But I want to know
Yeah.
this, okay? So let's just get down brass tacks. What is the number one most exciting thing about this project? Like if you were to say you should be excited about Resurgence because this, for someone who's skeptical like myself, who's lost a lot of money, who's invested a lot of time and energy and money into other games, why should I, number one, what's the number one reason why I should be excited about Resurgence?
I mean, I can jump in here. Like, I mean, the team behind it is incredible. You look at the stuff that we've done on the studio already. In terms of you talking about little games and experiences, the stuff that we've done with Doctor Who, the stuff that we've done with Peaky Blinders, our kind of sister company, kind of Maze Theory, the team that we've got around that, building a kind of game first philosophy. Like honestly, some of the team, like even being in this project with someone like Blake, who's kind of written the thesis on this stuff. Like if that doesn't get you going that doesn't get you going in terms of kind of investing in it and stuff like that, I don't know what will, because these are some great minds behind this. And that's probably why we're coming across thoughtful in the way that we do it. It's because we're trying to think of everything as we go along. And that's the most important thing when you're going to deliver something to an actual audience who are expecting to play a quality game.
Okay, so I'm going to quote Django for 1 second here. You had my curiosity at first with Post-Apocalyptic MMO, but now you've got my attention with this team, especially when you dropped in Doctor Who and Peaky Blinders, okay? Talk to me about this team, okay? If this is the number one thing to talk about, then give me who are the writers, who are the developers, what have you done, what's the past successes, and how are they all connected?
Yeah, so I mean, like, well, again, we can talk about the team and we can share that kind of information afterwards. I was talking about Tim LeBon, who's kind of worked on the Alien stuff. We're talking about developing a world and developing a game that's relevant to our audience. He's at the precipice of sci-fi and kind of near-fi and all of this kind of lore and narrative building that's going to be key to making the game interesting. Then you've got the kind of, Russ Harding, CCO. You've got Stephen Huckle, who've worked on the likes of Doctor Who, Lonely Assassins, the Peaky Blinders kind of VR game that we've got coming out very soon on Maze Theory, which is a kind of sister company. They've been in the industry for years. They've been at PlayStation. They've launched kind of new media types, and they've done it extremely successfully. I mean, the list goes on, even from kind of like working with Blake and her team to kind of Andy on their side at Pluto. It's a huge team, and everyone has a kind of amazing kind of history in the space. Even down to some of the kind of mini experiences that we're talking about. We're working with a studio called Kaigan, who I've worked with on the previous kind of Doctor Who Lonely Assassins game, which is a found phone game. These guys are experts in what they do, not only in creating kind of a language that they can speak to their community in through a game and like create an audience around a game that's, feverish and like super excited. When they drop games, people are like, holy crap, I need to be involved in this straight away. You're talking people that rush through them. But yeah, just like, working with them, they're at the height of what we do. Everything that we do here is working with teams that are immensely successful and immensely knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And I think just to add to that too, when you look at the crypto side of things, people are making massive, massive promises around the games that they will build. And, when we look at our team, we've built games. We've worked for the top gaming studios in the world. We have a massive team coming from PlayStation. People that have worked on Gran Turismo, Sensible Soccer, back in the day, whatever it is. These teams have actually built games. They've shipped games recently, obviously Peaky Blinders and Doctor Who. So when you look at the history, we've built games before. And not only, not just any old game, some of the top grossing and most successful games ever. So I think if that doesn't, on the execution side, if that doesn't get you excited, looking at the space right now, then I don't know what else will.
It actually does. I mean, like, honestly, everyone is so used to these people like starting up games for the first time or getting partnered with studios to outsource the whole game. Doesn't make sense. And it seems like you are really and you name dropping and you studio dropping and you're bringing in people with real track records of success, like on Netflix, like on my PlayStation. This is fantastic. This is all fantastic. So
and I think when you look at, sorry, go ahead. Just one other thing, when you look at like the big opportunities for crypto Web3 gaming going forward. I think, what we haven't seen and the kind of like opportunity that we're cutting through is really Web2 gaming experience with Web3 applications with original IP. So we're not trying to repurpose old games. We're making original IP with very, very skilled game developers, also with that crypto expertise. So it's all coming together, and it will be expressed with Resurgence. So I think it's very new in all of that kind of combination.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge fan of Bethesda and Fallout, and I'm sure that's you guys have done your research or played that game before. That's that's kind of how I've thought that feel, and so
Yeah.
I must have clocked in hundreds of hours my whole life there. I denied having a girlfriend, and I skipped my school to play those types of games. And could you imagine if I was a kid then and playing that type of game and then making money and earning back in the crypto ecosystem? It's going to be, I mean, like when my daughter grows up, she's going to be playing these games. I'm like, stop playing Resurgence here. So it's going to be very interesting to see.
That's what we want.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what's the next most exciting thing that you guys are looking to accomplish here. Like, you guys are obviously out telling people about Resurgence. What's the next most exciting thing for us to be excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I can go for this one, Blake, or did you want to start?
No, please.
Yeah, I mean, so it's going to be this first mini experience. And again, I don't want to say too much so people can find it naturally, but we're going to start telling the story of the end of the world. And tied up within that is kind of some of the first stuff that we're going to do on the blockchain, which is super exciting. And yeah, I guess this is going to be our first kind of interaction with the audience and stuff like that. And that's really important for us because, we've talked a lot about the kind of team and we've talked about the importance of game and storytelling. But one of the key things to the way in which we build games is community and kind of being able to live the story with our audience and having the audience kind of interact with the kind of world and us kind of like shift things so that they can kind of be rewarded with that interaction. So for me personally, that's going to be the most exciting, scary thing ever because we're going to start putting things out there in the real world, seeing how people react to them, kind of pulling back and going, okay, then we tease this part of the story and we kind of build on that to kind of bring in the community into Discord. So yeah, for me, that's what's next on my agenda. It's big and it's scary, but it's going to be so much fun.
And that's a smart way to go about things too, right? You put it out there and you get that feedback, and then you adjust and that way it's like now you've gotten the user feedback. You're like, oh, okay, they didn't like this, they really like this, so let's go down this way. I really appreciate that strategy in releasing a game, so you're not putting out a game that no one wants to see or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the risk of what we're doing, right? You're kind of building this stuff backwards. So the more stuff we can show, the more stuff we can get our audience involved in this stage, the better for us because we're kind of honest about where we're coming from and where we want to get to with the kind of game philosophy. So why not involve them in that process? Sorry, Blake, I know you were going to say something there.
No, that's perfect. And the only other thing I would add to what James is saying is that with crypto games, as you know, as your audience knows, a lot of times there's a big barrier to entry to actually begin the investment process or the playing process. Whether that's, $1,000 to buy an NFT or you need a certain amount of tokens to participate. And we really want to make this, again, with game first and really prioritizing the community. We don't actually really want to put barriers to entry. This won't be an experience where you're going to have to pay to play. We really, again, want to be giving the options for free to play as well as this, giving that on-ramp to play to earn. So we want to have both. And we also want to be really thoughtful about how we organize that. And this will be, again, an experience that will be open to everyone. There won't be a lot of barriers to entry. And that's really important to us from the game building, world building perspective and the storytelling perspective. So, everyone can participate and we're excited about that.
Yeah, you talk about these barriers to entry and playing these games, and I agree with you. I play a lot of games, I do a lot of testing for a lot of different games and stuff like that, and I enjoy it. I mean, I don't know. I'm so lucky to be able to be a part of that. Hopefully, in the future, you'd have me, and we do this thing round two.
Of course we would.
But come on board.
But talk to me about the barrier to entry more on your side of things as the game. What's been the biggest obstacle that you guys have had to overcome, and how did you overcome it?
Well, I think what's interesting, James, I can speak to this if you want to add afterwards, but
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
you know, when it comes to us thinking about game first and embodying that within the actual design, and inviting the community aboard, at the end of the day, no one, when we look at game models, no one's really figured out a sustainable play to earn game. Most of them, all of them, you need a constant onboarding of users to really keep the entire thing going. So I think our biggest obstacle around thinking through game design, token economics, is how to create that free to play, that free to play tier, as well as that play to earn option, and how to organize both. The exciting thing, of course, is that no one's really ever executed it fully. It's a new space. Everyone's creating, everyone's iterating, trying to figure out what's next and how it does work. But I think for us, it's still on the game design piece, how we can have both and make them genuinely sustainable, and allow gamers who don't necessarily want to engage with crypto technology to still have a great experience and to not have those barriers. So I think, you know, just managing both of those sides for me is what's kind of I'm thinking about most at the moment.
Got it. So yeah, you're talking about more the economy of how free to play gamers and crypto and how people earn back money, how that all works together, and no one's really fully flushed that out. Maybe in the next few years that will be more of a reality.
And hopefully we can figure it out and make, you know, the best game that people want to play just for fun, even way outside of, you know, crypto, that it's just a really great fun experience.
That first things first, right? Priority, first principles. James, how about yourself? On from your end of things, what's been the biggest hurdle that you've had to overcome with Resurgence?
I mean, I'd echo what Blake said. She's put it perfectly there. To be honest, it's less of an obstacle than a consideration, right? And when you're operating in, you know, kind of two spaces and you're trying to bring those together in the best possible way for both audiences, you have to be really considerate and you have to listen. And, you know, part of my job as a producer is listening to both sides and understanding the needs of both, right? Because, you know, they can operate together, and that's exciting, but you need to make sure you have that consideration in place first. Otherwise, we start running down one alley, you know, and we get to a dead end, and we've wasted a load of time. So it's about that initial hurdle for me was about, you know, casting that net really wide, making our considerations as big as possible to both audiences so that we could then, you know, develop the best game possible. And, you know, that goes down to everything from, you know, narrative to artwork to game design, as Blake said.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's the biggest consideration for sure, because you don't want to mess that up, because that's the bones of the whole thing.
Exactly.
Okay, I got a couple quick fire questions here as we're rounding up the time. How long has this game been in development?
Yeah, I mean, I can go for that. It's been going for a couple months before I joined, and I've been there for the last 3 months on this project. So we're probably about month 4 on this one, between month 4 and 5.
Got it. Okay, so very early stages, but that should be exciting for investors. How many partnerships do you guys have? I'm sure you guys have a lot of people in here. How are you funding this thing as we go along?
Yeah, so right now we're actually we're fully self-funding it at the moment, which I think speaks to, again, our belief in the project.
Skin in the game. I love it.
Skin in the game. We're all in, Aaron.
Yeah.
So, you know, what can we say? We really believe in this. We are definitely going to be looking for, because we are self-funded, I think that gives us a lot more opportunity and freedom to really choose incredible partners. We don't need to be scrambling for everyone. Of course, there will be people that we'll be talking to and we have spoken to about partnerships and collaborations. But at this point, what I think, you know, the structure of the business really represents is that, you know, we're really confident that we'll be able to pick the best people, and we don't need to be scrambling for money here and there. And most importantly, we don't necessarily need to be trying to extract money from the community, which is really what we don't want to do. We want to,
Yeah,
again,
absolutely.
prioritize them and reward them, as
Yeah.
opposed to look for them to give us anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yep.
that's obviously not the best way to do it. So yes, we do have we're thinking about that. We're talking to people. We don't have anything that we're moving on at the moment, but we're definitely considering collaborations and partners in the whole thing at the moment.
You're looking to give more value than taking more value from the community. You're looking
Exactly.
to build the community up around something that they could be excited about, a game that post-apocalyptic MMO, like something futuristic, which is something I really like and appreciate. You
Mhm.
talked a little bit about the team. I know we talked about it before. I'm not talking about quality anymore. I want to know quantity. How many heads are thinking about Resurgence right now? How many people do you have in in your ecosystem? I know you're bringing like teams together, but how many people do you think? Like 20, 30, 40?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, I've got I'm up to my ears in Zoom calls with about 20, 30, 40 people regularly. I'd say we're probably in the kind of 20s to 30s range most of the
Yeah.
time for my kind of wider catch ups, but that extends out to kind of, yeah, some of the partner conversations we're having, and the team's expanding all the time. So
Got it.
yeah, it's getting bigger. When I kind of first started, it was a few of us, and we're, you're kind of watching the ideas expand, and then suddenly there's way more people on the course. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's like herding cats at the minute, but it's good.
I got it. I got three more questions here. First question. So what is the biggest secret that you could spill to us then?
The biggest secret. Keep your eye on the news. I'd say always be watching the news,
Keep your
especially
eye
in
on
the
the
next
news.
couple of weeks. Yeah, yeah. Keep your eye on the news. Embrace the change. Welcome to Resurgence.
Where's the news? On Twitter?
You're just gonna have to keep an eye out for it, cowboy. Otherwise, I can't give you all the secrets away, can I?
Okay. I realized that was a bit of a contradicting question, but maybe you
Yeah.
can tell me this one. You said that you're dropping some stuff soon in the community, some stuff to tease out.
Yeah.
Do you have like a general timeline of when you're going to do that?
Yeah, I can't. The point of us dropping this experience will be to kind of drop it when no one's looking, right? But
Oh, okay.
it's coming. It's coming, right? So in the next couple of weeks,
Okay. Next couple of weeks. I like that. Within a
keep,
month.
keep an eye out.
You
Things are
guys
going to
have
be
been
soon.
tight-lipped, and I'm glad I got something concrete out
Yeah,
of you guys. So a
you got
couple
a
of weeks.
little, you got a little slip out of me. I'm,
That's
I'm
good.
sure my wrists are going to get slapped after this call, but no. Keep an eye out. Next couple of weeks to the end of the month, we're going to start, as I said, hiding fiction in plain sight. Keep your eye on the news.
Good
Embrace the
deal.
change.
Good deal. Last question here. Is there anything else that you are just so excited about that we haven't talked about Resurgence yet? That there's this fire in your bellies that you just want to get out to the world, but you just haven't yet. Something that we haven't talked about.
I mean, for me, it's the story. Like, I know I've talked about the story a lot, but part of the reason for me getting involved in the project is the richness of the story and how wide an opportunity that is for the final MMO. Like, we're talking about a world where, civilization is kind of gone and then it needs to be rebuilt. And how we do that, is kind of up to us as how we kind of build the game. And if that isn't the most exciting, like, the parable for this is like rebuilding the earth, right? And if that
Yeah.
isn't exciting to people, I don't know what is. And the opportunities there within that kind of MMO space to do that, from what we see out there in the moment, is huge. And I don't know, to me, I think this could be a game people play for a long time.
Yeah. I think so I watch a lot of this post-apocalyptic stuff like Walking Dead and stuff like that. And I'm
Mhm.
going to get a little bit meta here for you guys just cuz I'm just thinking about it. One of the biggest drivers of something like that, like the values, there are different value systems that are like very important that carry the story along that make people want to be invested. And I would say like hope in that first season of Walking Dead, like a hope to build a better future, a hope for finding a cure, like that is one of the biggest values in that series. And other things like survival and love are these big values. What do you think is the most important value in a post-apocalyptic world that would carry, like, if it say it all happened, right? Like, what is it that would carry humanity forward in a post-apocalyptic world that you are envisioning?
But I mean, I'll jump in again. Sorry, Blake. I feel like
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
taking
no,
over
no,
here. Yeah, look, I think working together, like,
Mhm.
no, that's a huge part of it. Obviously, acting independently is great, but you know, we're in a world at the moment where, you know, where we're not meeting and talking together and where we're not figuring problems out together as a world is where things are falling through the cracks. So surely, you know, in a future world, working together to explore that new kind of frontier is going to be super important.
Yeah,
And
and
I
I
think
think
to go even more meta within, you know, working together is, I think again, that's one of the real opportunities for Web3 gaming and what like the blockchain in general, but I think also tokens and NFTs provide immediate social coordination mechanisms
mm,
where incentives can be so profoundly aligned via ownership in ways that isn't possible before. So I actually think the actual form and content, both the actual blockchain we're building upon
yeah.
and the game itself, really are reflective of this sharing community, and they both really work together. So I think again, the meta of this community building is really
Yeah.
underpinned by the infrastructure. So there you
Yeah,
go.
I think that's, yeah, you brought it even deeper. Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
totally right. Like this whole theme of unity, right? Like
yeah,
in a world that's so
exactly.
divisive, that,
Yeah,
you know, like, hey, we have bigger problems at work here. We don't have to, ourselves aren't the problem. So we're trying to
hmm
connect and click like a
hmm
giant working like puzzle or machine here. And
hmm
that is in the content of the game, built
hmm
around it, and the theme underneath, underpinning really all of blockchain, and, you know, just this diverse group of people coming together. I love it. Love it. Guys, if you are interested in Resurgence, check out the links down below in the description. Check out the comment section. Leave a comment in the comment section if you guys are interested. Hey, do you guys like Resurgence or not? Let me know your thoughts and let them know your thoughts. Give them the feedback. And I think that's what they're asking for.
totally.
James, Blake, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks for being in the hot seat today. And we'll see you guys in the next video. See you guys.
Bye.